What if I told you the greatest footballer of all time was a short kid from a slum who cheated, cried, scored the best goal ever, and died with a nation still calling him God? His name: Diego Armando Maradona, a boy born in the dust of Villa Fiorito, who rose to rule football's grandest stages and fell just as spectacularly. This is the untamed story of a genius who played like his life depended on every kick, because sometimes it did. Diego Armando Maradona was born on October 30th, 1960, in Villa Fiorito, a shantytown on the outskirts of Buenos Aires. He was the fifth of 8 children, raised in poverty, with soccer as his only escape. At just 3 years old, he was gifted a leather ball, and from then on, the streets were his training ground. By age 10, he was dazzling crowds with tricks for the youth team, Los Abolitos, going unbeaten for 136 games. He wasn't just a talent, he was a revelation. Argentina saw in him the hope of a new messiah for their national sport. A boy born in the mud, with magic in his feet. At 15, Maradona made his professional debut for Argentinos juniors. Barely a teenager, he was already commanding stadiums. Then came Boca Juniors, where in 1981, he led the club to a league title, becoming a folk hero. But the world stage was calling. In 1982, he joined FC Barcelona, and soon after, represented Argentina at the World Cup. But that tournament was disappointing: red cards, chaos, and an early exit. Yet behind the frustration, the world glimpsed something terrifying. Maradona was a storm waiting to explode. In 1984, Maradona arrived in Naples, a city as bruised and battered as the boy who came to heal it. Napoli wasn't just a football club, it was the soul of southern Italy. Ridiculed by the rich northern clubs, Napoli had never won a league title. But Maradona changed everything. He danced through defenders, delivered impossible passes, and scored with a genius that made time freeze. By 1987, Napoli won its first Scudetto. It wasn't just a title, it was a revolution. Murals of Diego rose like saints. Naples didn't just worship him, they built a church in his name. June 22nd, 1986. Argentina versus England. A match soaked in political tension after the Falklands War. Maradona took center stage. First came the infamous hand of God. Goal, punched in past Peter Shilton, unseen by the referee. 4 minutes later, he scored what is now called the goal of the century, weaving past 5 English players in 10 seconds. In those moments, Diego became myth, hero to a wounded nation, villain to a stunned England. He wasn't just playing football, he was writing history with his boots. The 1986 World Cup ended with Argentina lifting the trophy, and Maradona at its center, the golden ball winner, the unstoppable force. Streets flooded. Songs were written. Babies named Diego. He had become more than a man. Endorsements poured in. The world couldn't get enough. But behind the spotlight, the cracks began to form. Fame was intoxicating, and Diego, never trained to handle the burden, began to spiral inward. The same fire that drove him was starting to burn him. Back in Naples, Maradona's dominance continued. A second Scudetto in 1990. UEFA Cup glory. But fame brought enemies. He was linked to the Camorra, Naples mafia. Parties turned to cocaine. He started missing training. Yet on the field, he still ruled. When Argentina played Italy in Naples during the 1990 World Cup semi-finals, He asked Neapolitans to cheer for Argentina. Many did, and when Argentina won, Italy turned cold. The love affair had soured. Diego had chosen country over club, and the backlash was brutal. By 1991, it all unraveled. Maradona tested positive for cocaine and received a 15-month ban. The idol had fallen. Cameras caught him being escorted by police. Naples, once his sanctuary, became a place of shame. He left Italy, disgraced and addicted. He bounced between clubs. Sevilla, Newell's old boys, but the magic was fading. His body was breaking. His spirit exhausted. He was a man haunted by his own myth, crumbling under its weight. In 1994, Maradona returned for one last World Cup. At 33, overweight but driven, he shocked the world with a thunderbolt goal against Greece. His wild-eyed celebration, a primal scream, became instantly iconic. But then came another drug test, ephedrine this time. He was expelled from the tournament. That image of a nurse leading him away marked the end. The fairy tale had finally broken. Even gods, it seemed, had expiration dates. Retirement didn't bring peace. Maradona's health declined. He nearly died of heart failure in 2004. He battled obesity, underwent gastric bypass, entered rehab. Yet he never vanished. Coaching roles came and went. He ranted on talk shows, idolized Castro and Chavez, remained chaotic and magnetic. Crowds still cheered. His flaws only deepened his legend. Diego was raw, unfiltered, a mirror of every contradiction in Latin America, brilliance and destruction, love and rage. On November 25, 2020, Maradona died of cardiac arrest at age 60. Argentina declared 3 days of mourning. Fans wept in the streets. His casket lay in the presidential palace. Graffiti read, "God is dead." But Diego had always lived like a myth, and myths don't really die, they echo. In the slums, on dusty fields, in stadiums filled with song, Maradona lives on. The flawed genius who rose from dirt to divine, then collapsed under the weight of his own legend. Was Maradona the greatest ever? Pelé had grace. Messi has precision. Ronaldo has records. But Maradona, he had soul. He played like his life depended on it. His genius was unpredictable, uncontrollable. He could be breathtaking 1 minute and self-destructive the next. And that's what made him unforgettable. His story wasn't just about football. It was about rebellion, hope, chaos, and redemption. A story only real life, not fairy tales, could produce. In Naples, the stadium is now named after him. In Argentina, murals cover walls from Buenos Aires to Rosario. A literal church of Maradona has followers who pray to his memory. But more than monuments, his legacy lives in every kid juggling a ball in the dirt, believing they too can rise. Diego showed the world that beauty could be born from pain. But even the broken can be brilliant. He was not perfect. He was Maradona.